You noble diggers, all stand up now.
Hello my friends, and welcome to my channel. Today we will be talking about, is the Vanguard even on the left? Some background. The Vanguard is a channel that does meta commentary. They started by taking down Cenk Uygur, who is the host of the TYT, right? And you can see how capitalism slips these people into positions early, right? But the wrong people, right? Cenk Uygur, I'm gonna keep saying it wrong. He started as a radio host, right? And you can look back through his old clips, and they are horrific, right? Misogynistic and very crass and rude on the open airwaves. I don't like that at all. Um, but he saw the rise of the Bernie, and he had the business acumen to see that there was maybe a path forward for him, and he's built probably a small fortune off it. So, congrats, but he's an idiot, right? He's not just an idiot, he's now a useful idiot for the right, a tool of the right. I think he was most recently called in an article I read, I can't remember. But the Vanguard, right? The Vanguard are the victim for today. Cenk calls them Silly and Billy, right? And what a great name. I'm going to flash who I think is Silly and who I think is Billy here, because I hope Zach and Gavin see this and I can laugh at least a little bit. And if they do see it, very off chance, right? Very low chance, I'll admit. I would say this is all a good faith criticism. I do think you boys are doing good work, right? But I feel the project that I have envisioned necessitates me engaging in this meta commentary so as to advance myself up the algorithm as quickly as possible, right? And that sucks. But good faith criticism. I'm not just going to be like, you're an idiot, you're not a real leftist. It's like, I'm going to use some examples. We're going to talk about some things, right? So, first, they don't really remind me of Silly and Billy, though that's a great nickname. They remind me of Hear No Evil and See No Evil, which is a comedy bit from the 70s or the 80s. I have no idea. I have to look. But it's with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, who are a comedic duo. They also did Blazing Saddles, which is got a bunch of huge clips on TikTok. Maybe the youth have seen. But the premise of Hear No Evil, See No Evil is that one guy's blind and the other guy's deaf, and so they together solve a murder. Right? It's fun. It's a cop thriller comedy thing.
350. What are you talking about?
300, but that's it.
Are you talking to me?
225.
Comedy doesn't really hold up over time. It ages like milk. What's funny to one generation will not be. It's about pushing the boundaries, and you're either way outside the new bounds or you're not pushing the new bounds, right? It's just the way comedy works. But anyways, the premise of this movie relates to Silly and Billy because they are both, like I was just saying about capitalism, placing them there early, are not quite fitted to the role they have, but together they fit through the square hole.
The triangle. We know what hole that goes
The
into,
triangle.
right?
Triangle.
That's right. The square hole.
They both come to the right conclusions, right? And not usually come to the right conclusions. They come to the right vibe, we'll say. How about that? The one guy, who I think is Billy, is business acumen guy. He doesn't really seem devoted enough to read more too, right? And really become solidified in his leftist positions. He is eyes on the prize, growing that business. And, it's what it is. He has helped Silly, who is the smarter of the two for sure, in my opinion, be able to voice his opinions, which are from time to time worth hearing. He's pretty bright. I think you should read some more. You can tell the canon is missing, right? The late canon, and it's the naivete of their trust, right? And that's going to be the focus of the main criticism here, right? Which is that how the hell could you say Jon Stewart would be a great president, right? That is stupid. I know you are in a desperate strait. I know you'll take anything, right? You'll just got to get rid of this Donald Trump, but come on, man. That's a liberal, right? He's going to be softer than Bernie Sanders. And to be frank, if you come to me with, oh, we need universal health care in this moment, after Donald Trump has just destroyed the constitutional order, the liberal order of the world, right? You're out of your mind, right? We got to do stuff way beyond that, right? Bernie Sanders was that moment. 2016 is calling, right? 2025 is like, oh, bro, we need to institute like a command economy for a little bit, for maybe a generation, a command economy. Crazy how far we have fallen so fast, and that, in your desperate straits, you can't see that you were still like, well, maybe Jon Stewart, he'd win. Don't get me wrong. I think he'd be a great figurehead if we could get all the people around him to be communists, right? Kind of like Franklin Delano Roosevelt, right? All his people are communists. And they were like, yeah, this is our champion. We'll put this guy forward, right? And that's what politics is supposed to be about. That's who that leader is. He's not your thought leader. That's crazy, right? That's how can there be a thought leader in a machine of 300 million people, right? And how could that thought leader be the one who rises to the top, even if there is such a person who exists for ever so brief a time, right? Because the skills it takes to become a thought leader and the skills it takes to become a speaker, a leader, a motivator, right? Those are two different skills. Yeah, so Jon Stewart would be a terrible president. He wouldn't get enough done, and then we'd be back to square one, and some damned Republican would get in, and he'd be worse than Trump, because he'd have a brain, right? Trump has the ability to become world Hitler right now, and it looks like he's just going to flub it because he's too incompetent, right? It's so funny. I love it. But finally, I'm going to leave you with a take that I have, right? It's on municipal governance, and it's to show you what I think is an example of a communist position, of a real left position, right? I think, if you're a tracker of this channel, that the Commonwealth of His Majesty, the King, should be applying for statehood, right? But once that statehood appears, the capital district that will appear from a hyperloop of maglev trains from Washington, D.C. to Boston, to Montreal, to Detroit, to back to DC, right? And that'll be a great contiguous loop, right, of a maglev train, and that this will create basically one city, right? And that will be the goal for the next 100 years, is to urbanize and densify so that we can better distribute resources and not have any loss through the logistics chain, right? But on the way, right, as we're going there, right now what we have is suburban hell sprawl, right? So what we have to do is use what we have to institute change, right? So here's something just small that I love. I really love this idea, right? A municipal tax credit for any stay-at-home family member who will maintain a beehive in the backyard of their house, of their dwelling, right? This could create a pollination nervous system through these municipalities that already spread like a nervous system throughout the countryside, throughout the continent, right? And that would be really good for the environment. And then also we prohibit grass yards. There has to be bushes and flowering plants. Grass is a dead zone. It's an ecological dead zone, right? And we have to smash the boomers' traditions, right? Your grass doesn't look good. It makes me think that you are a traitor to humanity. That's the kind of policies we need to be pushing, right? And you saying universal health care under Jon Stewart is missing the moment, right? It's just not enough. Please have me on the show. I'm dying to get this idea to the people, and I think I can get it done in like a year, and then I can retire. Have a nice day. Hello, you've made it to the end of the video. Thank you. This channel has one mission: to prevent civilizational collapse associated with climate change, to prevent 100 million refugees by 2035, to stop 7 billion from starving to death by 2075. And we will do this through one main vehicle. We mean to unite the Anglosphere. we will do this by convincing the Commonwealth of His Majesty King Charles III to apply for statehood as one. And then with this new power, we will be able to negotiate in good faith with the rest of the world on how to tackle this crisis. Thank you and enjoy.